Good evening and welcome to the September 16th, 2020 legislative session of the Penfield Town Board. And I'll officially call the meeting to order. In the auditorium this evening is our town clerk, our director of finance and controller for the town. And then on the line we have our town attorney, Mr. Horowitz. We have 3 of our 4 town board members. And when the clerk calls the roll, we'll make that official into the record. However, Mr. Moore is out of town on business. With that, I'll ask the team here in the auditorium for the 3 of us to lead everyone in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I'll ask for an official roll call.
Draw.
Here.
Cowell.
Here.
The Fountain.
Here.
Moore is absent. Ockenden.
Here.
Okay, this evening we're going to start with that annual, very important message, and this is the budget officer's message and information on the tentative budget for 2021. And before I turn the mic over to Barbara Chertow, our controller and finance director for the town of Penfield, I'd just like to take a minute and say that I appreciate all the hard work. I know that Barbara and I met multiple times with all of our department heads. This year, definitely an unusual year with the pandemic. As we put the budget together, impacts on revenue, and certainly that has been long-lasting since March. We continue to be cautiously optimistic that we will end favorably by the end of the year. Again, however, sales tax revenues have been very slow to come back and are not at the level that we had planned for in the 2020 budget and discussed about a year ago at this time. But I want to recognize all of our department heads. I also want to recognize the board members. The board, that's where I get and Barbara gets our guidance as we put the budget together. And I want to recognize the board, all of our board members who participate who challenge us, who push back, suggest and it's sometimes throw us some real challenges for myself and our department heads, and rightfully so, to make sure that we're doing the best we can for our taxpayers overall. So here in a moment, Barbara will kind of give us an overview, and she'll talk about some important dates at the end. But I will mention up front that from this point tonight, this information will be on the website, and now for the next several weeks ahead, right up until that week before we look to adopt the budget on Wednesday the 14th, any and all feedback is welcome. And you'll have the opportunity to go online and see the complete budget. You can call Barbara, and you'll see her number here later. You can call myself. You can go to the library and get a copy of the budget. So we want to make sure our residents have as much access to this budget as possible. And as we move from the tentative tonight into the preliminary and then ultimately towards our final, we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to weigh in, comment, and make sure their voice is in the room as it relates to our budget. So with that, I'll recognize Barbara Chertow, our Controller Budget Director, to give us an overview of the 2021 budget.
Thank you, Tony. Yes, tonight I'm here to present a summary of the tentative budget. At the public hearing on October 7th, we will get into greater detail on what is expected for 2021. To start off with, just before I get into the summary of the budget, just a reminder regarding your property taxes, through where your taxes go throughout the year. The town is the smallest percentage of the pie out of the tax revenue. Though we provide your day-to-day necessary services, public works, recreation, facets of public safety, we actually get the smallest percentage of the tax dollar. So moving into what we have put together for 2021, the budget is a total of $20,632,799. This is a decrease of nearly $40,000 from what we adopted for 2020. And once again, we are well below the allowable levy increase that the comptroller allows annually. We only have a levy increase of $20,377 from what we levied for 2020, and that's $475,000 below what is allowable. As far as the distribution of the budget dollar, as we provide services to the residents, the largest percentage of the budget is appropriated towards employee payroll and benefits. The allocation for contracts and materials is the next largest piece. And then once again for 2021, the portion allotted for equipment and capital outlay remains at approximately 11% of the overall budget. That 11% equates to nearly $2.3 million, and that's appropriated for equipment and capital. This includes things like our heavy-duty trucks and light-duty equipment, our playground equipment, facility improvements, computer components, as well as funding our annual road program, sidewalk program, and sewer pump station improvements. As Tony mentioned, the challenges that we faced putting this budget together due to the pandemic, we also recognize the importance of keeping our infrastructure strong so that we can provide all that our residents expect. So that was a delicate balance to make sure that we don't fall behind and everything stays to the level that the residents of Penfield expect. As far as our major departments, the Department of Public Works is once again the department that will receive the largest share of the departmental allocations at approximately $8.6 million. The town library totals nearly $2 million, while the allocation for our recreation department is nearly $950,000. Town of Penfield continues to see growth in planned development as well as in home improvement investments. The valuation increased to $3.26 billion this year, which equates to an increase of 0.83% over our valuation from this past year. So once again, it shows that people not only want to live in Penfield, they also invest in their property and stay here. This slide is a summary of the tentative budget for the general governmental funds, which is the general fund, the highway fund, and the library fund. As you can see, the total is $17.7 million in appropriations with an estimated $8.1 million in revenue, a fund balance contribution of $615,000, which leaves a net of just over $9 million to be raised in the levy. Based on our valuation that I spoke of in the previous slide, our tax rate is estimated to remain flat at $2.78 per thousand. What that equates to for a typical household, which we value at $205,000, that's a tax bill of $569.90 for your governmental tax portion of your bill. And once again, Penfield continues to have one of the lowest tax rates of the 19 towns in Monroe County. As far as our non-tax revenues, these would be the revenues separated from the tax levy. Our total revenues are $8.2 million. That's a decrease from 2020 of just under $58,000. As Tony mentioned, we obviously continue to look at everything for 2020 as well as what we predicted for 2021. We are always conservative in our revenue estimates, as that's the side of the equation of our budget that we have the least control over, and I think this year exemplified that perfectly. So therefore, we once again were conservative in our estimates for 2021. Moving into the special districts, our anticipated rates for the special districts, the town's sanitary sewer operation and maintenance cost will be $46.32 per unit, and the portion associated with the debt service payments is $54.28 per unit. That gives you a total of $100.60, which is approximately $2.64 less than it was in 2020. This is the third year in a row that the cost of our sanitary sewer unit has decreased. Further on with the anticipated rates for special districts, the special drainage per unit will remain at $3.90. That equates to, for a typical household, which is charged with 10 units, it's $38.99. Our special lighting rate is just under 5 cents per 1,000. A typical household, again, would equate to $9.96 at that rate. And our intensified lighting district is at $23.30 per parcel. That's actually a decrease of 74 cents in the rate per parcel for the intensified district. Once again, the town of Penfield will collect on behalf of the 2 ambulance districts that serve our town. All tax monies collected are forwarded to the ambulance districts and are not part of the town's annual operating budget. The tax rate is anticipated to remain essentially flat for ambulance district number 1, which is the Penfield Volunteer Ambulance. And then for district number 2, NEQUALS, the rate per thousand goes up slightly to 0.0258. This amounts to $4.30 and $5.29 respectively for an average home valued at $205,000. This is kind of a summary of the overall budget. The total appropriations, again, are $20,632,799. The $8.2 million in revenue, the fund balance contribution from all the funds totals $668,668, with a total of over 11.7, just over 11.7 to be raised in taxes. The proposed budget is once again fiscally sound and will provide the continuance of important day-to-day services as well as recreation and cultural programs for the residents of all ages. Again, as Tony mentioned at the beginning, the budget documents are now available on the website, and hard copies will be available in the town clerk's office and the finance office, as well as the library tomorrow. As far as our upcoming timeline, as mentioned, the public hearing is October 7th. At that time, we'll get into a little more detail for all the departments on where we've been and where we're going, our expectations of 2021. October 8th through the 14th, the town board will review any comments that we do receive and develop a final budget. And then the anticipated adoption of the 2021 budget is Wednesday, October 21st. Oops. That sums it up.
Okay. So board, again, thank you for your guidance in putting this budget together. Our residents now have approximately 30 days to take a look at this budget, either online. They can call Barbara 340-8621. They can call my office 340-8630. And we would be more than happy to answer any questions. We can do that via Zoom. We can do that over the phone. You also have the ability online to completely digest all aspects of our budget, or visit the library. The library is open. They do have limited hours as compared to what normally would be the case during this unusual time, but the budget will be there as well. And would encourage everyone to take a look at the budget, ask any questions, and again, you can do that via phone call, you can do that via email, and submit that. What our practice, what our policy has been, is that any questions that come in, we gather those, and then we answer those, and we put them on the website. We make the assumption if one resident has a particular question on an item, others may have that same question as well. So we'll gather those questions, we'll answer those questions, and all of them will be placed on the website under the Finance Department, where you can have also access to the budget. So I'm going to say thank you to Barbara. That's our initial message. As Barbara has indicated, when we have the public hearing on the 7th, there is much more detailed information on the budget and explanation of that. This is just an opportunity to at least get everything out to our residents. And this tentative budget will now become our preliminary budget. And one of the key factors of that is that at this time, the budget cannot go up. If the budget were modified, It could go down, but it will not go up from this current level as presented this evening. So thank you, Barbara. We'll continue on with our agenda, and we'll move right into communications and announcements. I'll first recognize Debbie Draw, Councilwoman Draw, and ask if she has any communications and announcements this evening.
No announcements or communications, Mr. Supervisor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll next recognize Mr. Ockenden for any communications and announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I do have one announcement I'd like to read into the record tonight. This is a message from our town justices, the Honorable James Mully Jr., the Honorable Paula Metzler. We wish to express our appreciation to Supervisor LaFountain, the town board, and the town staff for assisting and supporting us during the last several months as we have strived to continue to conduct court business within the frequently changing mandates and guidelines handed down from the governor, the chief judge, and the chief administrative judge. While we wish that cases did not have to be delayed or deferred, the health and safety of our staff, litigants, attorneys, and the public remains our highest priority. We are pleased to announce that as of August, the court is back up and running with important protocols in place, including mandatory mask wearing, COVID-19 screening, distancing in the courtroom, routine sanitizing, and limited occupancy via staggered court dockets and the use of virtual technology. With the tremendous assistance of our court clerks, we have each added dockets and conducted case conferences to address and absorb the backlog created by the statewide shutdown of the courts earlier this year. We are confident that we have given cases and litigants the attention they deserve without undue delay. Finally, in light of the challenges our community is currently facing, we concur with the 7th Judicial District Administrative Judge Craig Duran in his recent remarks of support to local judges. His remarks are, "Together we have made it through some of the most difficult months of our community has ever faced. To have these opportunities to serve our neighbors and to support each other has indeed been a great responsibility and a great privilege. Now our very own community has been thrust into the national spotlight, and many of our neighbors are feeling the stress of the times and demanding justice. Our courts will undoubtedly be called upon to deliver that justice. As we have in the past, we will be there to deliver efficient and fair attention to all matters brought before us, and this community will continue to be comforted in the knowledge that their courts will assure that justice is done." If you have any questions regarding the current status of the Penfield Town Court, they invite you to visit their webpage. You can find it under departments on the town website at www.penfield.org. You can call them at 585-340-8623, or you can email them at court@penfield.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ockenden. I'll next recognize Councilwoman Cole. Any comments or announcements tonight?
I have no announcements. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I'll recognize our town clerk for any comments or announcements.
Yeah, I have none tonight.
All right. Thank you very much. The next order of business, which I should have probably so noted here at the start of the meeting, and I just want to make sure that is part of our record, and that's our normal official notice. Due to COVID-19 virus and the closing of town operations consistent with the governor's executive order. The September 16th, 2020 Town Board Legislative meeting will be held remotely via Zoom. This meeting will also be video recorded and broadcast live via the town's website at penfield.org, on the town's government access cable channel 1303, and on streaming media device, and that includes Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Search the Penfield TV in your device's Apple Store. It is a free app. The meeting will later be transcribed. Questions regarding video coverage, please contact Penfield TV at 340-8661. If you would like to address the town board on any matter this evening, there are two public participation opportunities, one at the beginning of the agenda, which we're going to get into next, and one at the end of the agenda. And you can participate in several ways. You can participate by calling in at 340-8771 or by electronic submissions to penfield.org. And with that announcement, I will next recognize on our agenda that this is our first public participation. Again, you can do that by calling in 340-8771, or you can log on at penfield.org. I'm going to pause just for a moment. I'm going to check the screen here to see if we have any calls in the queue, and also give folks an opportunity if they would like to call in. I see nothing on my screen at this point. That being the case, I would like then to move on to our agenda. And again, we'll have another public participation session at the end. I'll ask the board, are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda? Seeing none, I'll ask that we have the August 19th, 2020 minutes before us. And I would ask the board if we could have a motion of approval for those minutes.
So moved.
I'll second that. Oh, sorry.
It's been moved by Councilman Ockenden, and I think Councilwoman Cole chimed in with Councilwoman Draw quick on the second of the second. I'll ask, is there any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, I would ask for a roll call vote of approval.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
The Fountain.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
4 ayes.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to petitions. Has the town board, town attorney, or the town clerk received any petitions since our last meeting?
If not.
Okay, thank you. We will then move on to resolution by function, beginning with law and finance.
Authorize the town supervisor to enter into agreement for auditing services.
And I would recognize Mr. Ockenden for the first law and finance movement on that resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Whereas the town of Penfield
Hold on,
engages-
hold on just a moment. I would recognize you for a motion of that resolution.
Sorry. Yes, sir.
All
Motion.
right, thank you, and I'll ask for a second.
Second.
Thank you. With that, Mr. Ockenden, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Whereas the town of Penfield engages the professional auditing services in development of the town's annual audits from Bonadillo and Company LLP, and whereas the town has received an updated engagement letter from Bonadillo and Company to continue to provide such services for fiscal years 2020 and 2021. Now be it resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to accept and execute said letter upon review and approval of the town attorney.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Ockenden. I'll ask the board further discussion. Seeing no further discussion, a roll call vote.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
The Fountain.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
4 ayes. Authorize supervisor to sign lease agreement with the Penfield Ecumenical Food Shelf.
I will next recognize Councilwoman Cole to move this resolution this evening.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Linda, you have the floor, please.
Okay. So this resolution says the town of Penfield desires to enter into a lease agreement with the Penfield Ecumenical Food Shelf for operation of food shelf service to the residents of the town of Penfield. Be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign a lease agreement with the Penfield Ecumenical Food Shelf in a form approved by the town attorney for the building located at 1618 Jackson Road in Penfield, beginning October 1st, 2020 and ending on September 30th, 2030.
Great. Thank you, Councilwoman Cole. Appreciate it. I'll ask the board any further discussion on this particular resolution. Okay, seeing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
La Fountain.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
4 ayes. Authorization to accept credit card and online payments in the town clerk and tax receiver offices.
I'll recognize Councilwoman Draw for moving this particular resolution.
So moved, Mr. Supervisor. And this is, sorry, thank you. And this is the authorization to accept credit card and online payments in the town clerk and the town receiver's office. In conjunction with our, this will be authorized and signed as approved by the town board.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask any additional questions or comments on this item.
I didn't hear who seconded this resolution.
Mr. Ockenden?
Thank you.
Okay, we'll make sure our records are proper. Mr. Horowitz is keeping a close eye on us as well. And seeing no further discussion on this resolution, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
4 ayes. Emergency repair secure. Public safety.
Mr.
So
Ock?
moved.
Second. Oh, Linda, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Whereas on March 4th, 2020, the Town Board of the Town of Penfield adopted a resolution to enact local law number 3 of 2015 entitled "A Local Law to Provide for the Codification of the Local Laws, Ordinances, and Certain Resolutions of the Town of Penfield into a municipal code to be designated the Code of the Town of Penfield." And whereas the purpose of the Code of the Town of Penfield includes, among other things, to provide for the safety, health, protection, and general welfare of persons and property in the Town of Penfield, by requiring the securing and maintaining of all such properties within the town that may become abandoned, neglected, and or otherwise inadequately secured by the owner thereof in accordance with the applicable property maintenance and secure compliance code requirements of the Town of Penfield. And whereas the property owner of 1778 Fairport 9 Mile Point Road, SBL 125.01-1-5, has failed to maintain the subject properties in accordance with the acceptable code requirements, which are resulting in concerns for safety, health, protection, and general welfare of surrounding persons and properties. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield hereby authorizes the Fire Marshal to have the properties appropriately secured, and be it further resolved that the Town Board further authorizes that the cost of said emergency repairs secured during the year 2020 also be charged to the property receiving the required emergency call-out service to the 2021 property tax bill for the subject property. Will include a 25% administrative fee for services provided.
Thank you, Mr. Ockenden. I'll ask the board any additional questions, comments on this particular resolution. Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
4 ayes. Update to Parks, Recreation, and Facilities fee schedule.
So moved.
Second.
The Town Board last updated the fee schedule for the recreation parks and facilities for enclosed lodges and open shelters on September 5th, 2018. The Recreation Department has reviewed the Town Board updates to said fees for the enclosed lodges and open shelters. Therefore, be it resolved that the fee structure for Dolomite Enclosed Lodge, Harris Whalen Enclosed Lodge, and open shelters shall be as follows. Dolomite Lodge, for a resident, is $200, non-resident, $300. Harris Whalen Park Lodge, resident fee $150, non-resident fee $250. Channing Philbrick Park Open Shelter, resident fee $20, non-resident fee $30. Veterans Memorial Park Open Shelter, resident fee $20, non-resident fee $30. And the Harris Whalen Park Shelter, Open Shelter, resident fee $30, non-resident fee $40. So therefore be it resolved that the hours of rental will run from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. for both enclosed lodges at the Veterans Memorial Park and Harris Whalen Park. Be it resolved that the fee schedule will be effective as of December 2nd, 2020. Reservations for the 2021 lodge and open shelter reservations will begin on December 2nd, 2020 for Penfield residents and January 1st, 2021 for non-residents.
Great. Thank you, Councilwoman Cole. I'll ask, are there any additional comments or questions regarding this resolution? Okay, seeing none, I'd ask for a voice or a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
4 ayes.
This brings us to old business. Is there any old business to come before the board this evening? Seeing none, I'll ask, is there any new business to be brought before the board this evening? Again, seeing none. This is our second opportunity for public participation. Again, you can do that via phone call 340-8771, or you can log in at penfield.org. I'm looking at my screen. I see no calls holding. I will wait for just a moment and just indicate again for those that may have joined this meeting late, the 2021 budget is now on our website, and would encourage residents to take a look at that. And if you have any questions, to reach out to our finance director or my office, and we would be more than happy to answer any questions. We would welcome any comments via phone call, email, and or snail mail if you'd like to forward that into, again, my office or the office of our controller and finance director. And again, as I indicated earlier, any questions that come in, we'll gather those, we'll answer those, and we'll place the question and the answer on our website. Seeing no calls coming in and seeing no further business to come before the board this evening, the September 16th, 2020 legislative session of the Penfield Town Board will stand adjourned at 7:35 p.m. I want to thank everyone for joining in this evening. I also want to give a special thanks to our team downstairs who continues to keep us live via Zoom and on cable TV. And thank you for all their efforts to make sure that we are keeping an open, transparent government here in Penfield. As always, thank you. Be well and be safe.